Please watch this video till the very end because the issue needs attention.
On 30th July, 3 landslides hit the district of Wayanad in Kerala, one after the other, and the villages of Mundakai and Churalmala bore the maximum brunt of it.
The death count at the time of making this video is over 200, but it is rising.
Hundreds of people are missing and hundreds are yet to be rescued, while thousands are displaced.
According to a tweet by the former Finance Minister of Kerala, Thomas Isaac,
the number of people in relief camps is up to 8,304.
But how would you feel if we say that this could have been avoided?
How would you feel if we told you that the district administration had an alert 16 hours prior to the landslide from a renowned ecology centre in Wayanad?
Our reporter from Kerala, Rajesh Abraham, reported on the issue in detail. You can find the article on our website. The link is in the description, or you can click on this info card to read the full report. According to this report, the Hume Centre for Ecology and Wildlife had sent an alert to the district administration one day prior, that is, on 29 July at 9 am. We spoke to the director of the centre, Mr. C.K. Vishnudas, about the alert and why there was not much done about it. Here is what he had to say.
When did your organization realize that there was going to be a landslide?
That is the previous day, 29th, 9:30, 10, we have issued a special information to the district administration. And every day, we issue cumulative rainfall data to the district administration and all the local people also. Everybody get the data. Only thing is to make conclusions from that data and take decisions. So every day we focus like 9, 10 locations are what is the cumulative rainfall for the last 5 days. It has been also issued to the local press. So the media also is, we have a WhatsApp group and media people, district emergency operating cell people, district collector, everybody is there in the WhatsApp group. So this is a process that we initiate. In 2020, we have issued a similar warning in the same location, in the same river, where DDMA has evacuated all the people and there was zero casualty at that time.
Okay.
2020. Yeah. We issued warning in the previous day, 9:30, and by immediate in the night itself, they evacuated a lot of people, but that was not this much gravity. But there was a lot of damages at that time, but no people have gone into any kind of loss.
Why do you think this time they didn't do the same? The district administration, they didn't take the alert.
I don't know. The problem might be the collector is transferred recently and a new collector took charge only 5-6 days before. Maybe she didn't get much time to understand the situation. We do not know exactly. In addition, they have issued warning into some locations. Actually, I forgot to tell you. I called up the district panchayat president. He visited the previous day in the same location where we had this landslide and evacuated some 20 families from the upper reaches of the school. The one school has wiped out now. So just above that, there were some 10, 20 families were there. And they were all moved to safer locations and they escaped from this. The people who have fallen into the tragedy was people who in the low-lying areas and the townships where those people have gone into this slides. So so for all these high susceptible locations, we have set up some 600 millimeter of rainfall within 48 hours as the threshold value. In this case, in 29th, when we measure the rainfall on 30th morning, no, the 29th morning, we got around 400 millimeter rainfall. And the next day we measured by noon, what is the rainfall from 7 o'clock to some 3:30. That time we got about 130 more. That is like a 336 millimeters. And the rain is continuing. So, yeah, by assuming that the overnight rain will cross over 450, 500 millimeters over, we issued that it is going to the land is, and prior to that, we already have the information like already that area got some 3000 millimeter rainfall. It is already saturated. And this rainfall is adding to that, definitely the lands will slide. This is how we make based on the threshold value given in that particular area.
All this information you received and understood by 29th morning. You said 9:30, I think.
9:30. That is the time we issued because the previous day rainfall was about 200, 300. And we also got a video of the water flow in the river. So that's the time we don't waste time. We issued that this area is going to have landslides.
You said we do not know which way the water would flow and which way the landslide would rush in. But do we have any understanding of how, at what scale the landslide would be? Like in this case, that was like multiple, 3 landslides happened one after the other. So, and
Yeah,
at
that
huge
depends
scale.
on the that depends on the terrain, but we can predict the flow path will be the river. Now that everyone knows. If there is a landslide
Okay.
in a valley, it will come to the river only. So that is why we advise people, riverside people, river bank people should move out. So that is the thing normally we give everywhere. And in actually in after 2019 we have conducted special sessions in that panchayat stating that this particular area now Mundakai will not sustain in future because of the heavy precipitation in that area. I think in this case, about some 200 square kilometer area wide rainfall has occurred in that region, almost 48 hours. So this is because of the larger climate change that we are experiencing because the monsoon system has collapsed. I already proven that in 2019, Puthumala landslide was basically because of the mini cloudburst, mini or larger cloudburst that occurred. And again, this is the third time in the same location. That is why we already told people that this particular village cannot survive in future in that area.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yes, yes.
in 1980 also there was a landslide in Mundakai.
1984, there was
And
a landslide. In 2020, there was a landslide in the same thing. 2012, there was landslide in the same mountain. 2019, just after this, not in this location, but just half a kilometer different, no, Puthumala. There 17 people died, and the other side, about 42 people died. So it is a series of landslide, and this mountain is not at all safe. So basically, in future, we have to take a very immediate step to relocate these people from the area. They can do agriculture in that area, but their house should be somewhere away from that location. I think it is not going to sustain these kind of mountain slopes where people can live, especially in this part of the mountain.
so evacuation is the only solution, if I'm to ask you.
100%. I've been telling this to people and administration evacuation, and why we should waste time in investing in that area, no? If you want to save people's life, they should be gradually moved out to some safer place. So we are little worried that with all this effort in last 4 5 years, this has happened, and a lot of people have gone into the.
There is some form of accountability for the government right here, because you're saying there was an alert. You're saying
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
okay, some people were evacuated, but more should have been, right?
Yes, yes. It should be a little bit more proactive action. They used to do that, but I don't know what happened. Maybe some within the system, maybe people who are not there, or I do not know. Maybe a new system, new set of people. I will not know exactly.
While we have these suggestions on one hand, on the other, we have a report by the Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel that came out back in 2011. This panel, led by ecologist and author Madhav Gadghil, was an environmental research commission appointed by the Ministry of Environment and Forests. The panel studied the Ghats extensively and came up with the report commonly known as the Gadgil Commission Report, which was heavily criticized by the authorities for being too environment friendly and not in tune with the ground realities. But what we see happening in Wayanad right now is exactly what the report predicted 13 years ago. We have a report on this on our website, and you can find the link in the description, or you can click on the info card on your screen. We spoke to environmentalist V.S.Vijayan, a member of the panel, to talk about the findings of the report and what he thinks is the best action plan moving forward. He is also the chairman of the Salim Ali Foundation, which is an organization that advocates for sustainable development and the conservation of biodiversity. Let's look at what he has to say.
So the first question is, can you please explain what the Gadgil report was and how implementing it would have made a difference?
Gadgil report.
Yes.
That is Western Ghats Ecological Expert Committee report. Chaired by Professor Madhav Gadghil. And there were 14 members. I was one among them. And what we have been asked at that time was to identify the areas in the Western Ghats which are ecologically sensitive and then prioritize them for long-term conservation or protection. So what we have done is we identified those areas and then we found there are some 18 areas which are ecologically sensitive. And in that, zone 1, 2, and 3, most important, in between, and the preferred one. So, the place where we are having this problem now, in Wayanad, was identified as ecologically sensitive zone 1. That means no construction activities should be undertaken there. It has to be completely protected, and that means no quarry, especially no quarries, and no earthwork, which would affect the land conditions there. This was Gadgil Committee report's main recommendations. But then government did not want to accept this, and they constituted another committee called Kasturi Rangan Committee. And the Kasturi Rangan Committee suggested the present sanctuaries and national parks as ecologically sensitive areas, and the rest of the areas are open for construction and development. So in effect what has happened was we recommended 63% of the Western Ghats for conservation as ecologically sensitive areas and 37% for development. But this was rejected by the government, constituted another committee called Kasturi Rangan Committee, and Kasturi Rangan Committee they suggested the other way. That means 37% of the Western Ghats should be protected for conservation and 63% for development. That means the present sanctuaries and national parks should be protected. Now, government accepted Kasturi Rangan Committee report. That means our report was rejected. The present context, I feel terribly upset because we have specifically mentioned this area where this problem is happening now in Wayanad has to be protected as most ecologically sensitive area, but that was not accepted. So that is a problem now. Now, what we would suggest is that the government should have a relook on the entire thing and take up the recommendations given by Gadgil Committee report. Gadgil Committee is there because he was the chairman of the committee.
Yes.
So that had 14 members. All were ecologically, all ecological experts and who had working experience in the Western Ghats. So that recommendation should be taken up, and even now, this is what we would suggest, that from the experience at least, we should take up Gadgil Committee report recommendations and try to implement them.
The Hume Centre for Ecology and Wildlife, which is based in Calcutta, they had issued a landslide warning 16 hours prior, but then there was no action that was taken. And there was a geological survey of India has established a early warning sign, the marker there. Even that was not functioning properly. So do you think that such warnings and reports are being taken lightly by the people and the authorities? Or do you think there are any other reliable warning signs that can be kept in place?
Apparently, that is what has happened. Such warnings are ignored.
Yeah.
Totally ignored. That is the problem. See, like the Gadgil Committee reports recommendations, totally ignored.
Yeah.
So then what do? We need a government system which would be amicable for this kind of recommendations and activities. See, we have to take a decision that we will not do anything which will affect the local ecosystem. Because now we are seeing this.
Yes.
See, it is not just saying. Now we are seeing it.
Yes.
What is happening in Wayanad. It is really painful.
Yes.
Really painful. At least 70-80% of this damage could have been avoided, and they declared this area as an ecologically sensitive area and did whatever we have suggested.
Yes.
I do not say completely we could have saved, but at least 70-80% of damage could have been avoided.
Yes.
There is no doubt.
And as an expert on this matter, what do you think is the best action plan moving forward, coming up with this, getting the Gadgil report back and adhering to it?
See, now the government, the best thing is that our BJP minister only promised me that they will definitely implement Gadgil committee report.
Yeah.
BJP minister in the beginning, that was our, I forgot his name.
So was it
So
Prakash Javadekar?
Yes, yes. The first minister in the BJP government who was in charge of the environment, etc. He had promised me that we will not close this Gadgil committee report. We will definitely implement it. This is what he told me, and holding on my hand, Javadekar. So I was quite happy the way he was telling. I thought that report would be implemented.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't, because of the pressure from the other side.
Do you think that to service the industrialists or these mining companies and corporates,
Yes, that's what I said, the other side, yes.
even the government is not paying any heed to these warnings and reports that have come in?
No, that's what I said. Government was, government, I cannot say will not, did not do anything which would save or protect the environment.
Yeah.
They did everything which went against the environment.
What we are witnessing right now in Wayanad after the tragedy is a story of mass human resilience.
However, the question foremost in the minds of the people is, will the governments sit up and take accountability for these lapses once Wayanad is back on its feet?